Hey, welcome to today's LINC Talks podcast, and we have some very special guys in the room today. Pastor Robert Trice, right here at Relevant Church in Grand Rapids, and then Pastor Ross Scheer from Big Rapids Res Life Church. And we're going to have a great conversation today about something I feel like is really important and something that many times we kind of overlook or maybe dismiss a little bit in our lives, and that we're going to talk about being healthy. We're going to talk about health in our personal lives. We're going to talk about health in our staff, our teams, our volunteers, health in our church. And so I want to start off let's talk about our personal health for just a minute, and then talk about it from the aspect of spiritual, physical, emotional, because a lot of times a couple of those get overlooked.
Well, I mean, I saw a post on social media of Pastor Robert over here working out in the gym the other day, and I was like, that's my guy right there.
Yeah,
I'm in the gym 5 days a week, so I saw you posting that. I was like, man, I wonder if I could become a workout influencer like Pastor Robert is.
It's a big deal. I would say I'm on a health journey physically.
Okay. Yeah.
And it affects every other part. So we can talk about physically, spiritually, emotionally. If you're not physically healthy, you're lacking in the spiritual and the emotional.
Yeah.
Because when you're not happy with where you are physically, it affects how you feel.
Yeah.
It affects how you show up. So I started this past summer. I was maxed out. I was at 240, and I'm only 5'7", so 240 was, and I just hated the way I felt.
You were a big boy.
I hated the way I felt, and I didn't feel good, and parts were hurting, and I said, this is it. I can't continue like this. And I just started changing my diet, recently started going to the gym. I actually hired a personal trainer.
Yeah.
For 2 months, I was saying, I'm going to go to the gym, and didn't do it. And I realized there's something here. There's a block, there's a mental block or something. I don't know what it is. So I literally hired a personal trainer, and it changed everything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So, yeah.
I'm 70. I'm not hitting the gym every day. I'm sorry, guys. But I have, recently over the last probably 8-9 months really addressed, a weight problem that we've carried probably most of our life, and dropped about 30 pounds. And
wow.
So we're maintaining that, keeping it off. And you're right, physically, it affects our endurance. It affects even our emotions, because if we're running on empty physically, we can get stressed out pretty quick.
Yeah, I think so many people struggle with the idea of going to work out. I hate going to the gym. I hate doing these things. But the way I see it is discipline, right? Consistency. And for me, it's been like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to be disciplined in this. And what I feel like is if you can master discipline when it comes to going to the gym, other disciplines become easier and easier. You see the importance of longevity, of doing the right things. It's the same as getting into the Word. It's the same as, as spending time in prayer. You got to be disciplined, or you just won't do it. And eventually, you'll get spiritually out of shape too if you don't discipline your life in all those different areas.
Yeah,
definitely. I think one of the fruits of the Spirit is self-control. It's the one we don't talk about. And, you said
is that one in there?
It's in there. So discipline and consistency will transform any area of your life. Mm-hmm. If you work and master discipline and consistency, there's not anything that you can set your mind to that you cannot accomplish. Mm-hmm. But it's like something in this day and age where even the way we talk, we don't speak in language of being committed to anything. Mm-hmm. You ask somebody to do something, or you can invite somebody to something, and they'll always say, well, I'll try to make it. Like when somebody tells me they'll try, in my mind, I know they're not coming because they haven't made a decision.
Right.
We don't make decisions, and we don't hold commitment well, and we have to do better. We definitely have to do better.
Well, Robert, you've got a very strong volunteer team in your church. We've been there several times, and they seem like they're happy serving.
Listen, if you've never visited Relevant in Grand Rapids, you need to go. It's a whole different world. We got to go there, and it was just an incredibly fun Sunday. They have a great spirit, of just a great attitude at the church.
And it's healthy. So talk to us a little bit about, we can get hung up on our personal health, and I don't want to get high-centered there, but, you've got all of these people from different contexts, different responsibilities throughout the week, and yet you've called them up to a challenge. And talk to us a little bit about that and how you've kept your congregation healthy.
Okay. You said that we have like this strong volunteer team, and I like to say that we don't have any volunteers at Relevant. We have servants. Mm-hmm. And if Jesus came to serve, then that's our identity, is as a servant.
Okay.
And people say, oh, it's semantics. I've had many pastors, when I say that, push, oh, semantics, whatever. And I said, that's why you get the results you get. Because when people volunteer, they give you what they want to give you. Mm. When people serve, they've given Jesus their whole life. Mm-hmm. And it is a part of our identity. And I thank God that we're part of planting and setting up and tearing down, because it allowed me to see Scripture in that way. And I think sometimes when you get to the point, a lot of pastors, they have a permanent building and location, and they feel like, oh, we don't need that as much. And I'm like, it's not what you need, is what they need. Yep. People need to serve. People need to. And we, even in starting point, I let it be made known, like if you're going to call Relevant Church home, you're going to serve in some way, shape, or form. Mm-hmm. I will preach you out of the building. I will make you uncomfortable. I tell them in those words. Yeah. I'm just a very straightforward person. And I say, I get it. We have the head surgeon that runs the Mercy Health emergency room. Yep. He's showing you to your seat. Yep. His wife's a doctor. She's back there teaching your kids. Mm-hmm. People who run the biggest foundations in Grand Rapids are teaching children and putting out chairs and serving. Mm-hmm. If serving is beneath you, then Relevant is not for you. Mm-hmm. Serving God is not for you. So it's in the verbiage. It's in the expectation. And I tell them, I said, I get it. People are busy. They run nonprofits. You run businesses. You do all these things. I said, bare minimum, you should be able to serve at your local church every other month, once every other month. Once every other month. And then I just do the math. I said, if you call yourself a Christian, but you cannot serve at your local church 6 out of 52 Sundays, you need to double check who you surrendered your life to, because it wasn't Jesus.
That's really good. At our church, we don't say like we have a need in children's ministry.
Never say need.
We say we have an opportunity to serve.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, because that's how we should see it. Not as, oh man, I got to go do this, or I guess I'll do it because there's nobody else. No, look, there's an opportunity for me to do something.
It's also in how you position it. So we use that same verbiage. Yep. My team's not allowed to say need, because God doesn't need us. We need Him.
Yeah.
And I tell people, I say, I want you to serve where it gives you life. Yeah. If serving on a Sunday is heavy, you're serving in the wrong area. Yeah. God has made you, equipped you, gave you gifts and talents, and whatever it is that you do and that you're passionate about, you can do it for the kingdom. Mm-hmm. Figure out how to take that, because then Sunday becomes the highlight of the week, not like, oh, I have to serve this week. No, we get to serve. Mm-hmm. And also the way you position it determines how people serve. So in kids, we grew up in church. We're church people.
Right.
You're like, man, Sister Susie's been back there for 3 years with no help with the kids. We need help. That sounds like a prison sentence. Nobody's going back there. But if you say, hey, let me tell you about Tommy. And Tommy came to church kicking and screaming. He did not want to go to kids. He was scared, never been there before. But by the time he left, he was kicking and screaming because he didn't want to leave. He had so much fun.
Right.
And all week, Tommy told his mom and dad, I want to go back. I want to go back. So they brought him back. And guess what? His mom and dad got saved. They got baptized. They're serving. Who wants to be a part of that life-giving ministry?
Yeah.
I just invited them to the same thing, but I did it in a different way. They saw this younger generation, they need to see of how what they're doing is actually helping or affecting change in people. They're not just here to do a task. Yeah. They got big hearts, and they want to see how it's helping.
So you said something that's pretty interesting. You said it's not about us, it's about them.
Yes.
So when we're talking about health, and we're talking about spiritual health, and, I talk to a lot of churches that are finding out what is our discipleship pathway. Well, when you put someone in a serving capacity, talk to us a little bit about some of the transformation that you see happening in their lives as you give them the opportunity.
Absolutely. So the verbiage that I use, I tell them, I said, I don't want anything from you. I want everything for you. And as your pastor, I'm going to ask you to do 6 things. There's 6 things that I'm going to ask you to do, and they're going to transform your life. And if you do these things at a high level, you don't have to meet with me a whole lot. You'll have community, you'll have everything. And one of those things is serving. Because serving, it's not about the task of the job. It's about the community you build with the team. Because after you've set something up or did this, there's people checking in. How you doing? How can I pray for you? Those are people that are inviting you to small groups. Those are people that you're doing life with. Those are people that you're talking about the message with. Those are the people that you're going to go to coffee with. You're going to build relationships with. Your kids are going to play with. It's so much bigger than the task of serving. And when you get them to see that, it's different. That terminology of serve where it gives you life. And I don't want anything from you, but I want everything for you. We ask people to obviously come to church consistently. We're not taking attendance, but when you join a team, somebody can notice if you're not here. And it's not, hey, you're not here. It's, hey, are you okay?
Right.
How can I pray for you?
Yeah.
How can I check on you? Then it's give in some way. Pray, worship, read your Bible. Come to small groups. They're not hard things. But when you do, and what I always ask, I say, hey, from a 1 to 10, I do this in starting point. When you join, literally, 1 to 10, how are you doing? And I just put dots on this graph I put on the board. Then I connect the dots. I said, this is your spiritual journey. What a bumpy road it is. Yeah. And I said, if you did these things at a 10 across the board, how would your life change?
Yeah.
I think
it creates buy-in.
I think that you got to lead that from the top, which you do, but also like for us at our church, your leadership, your different pastors or leaders in different ministries have to have a mental shift too to see it that way. For instance, I've had staff members in the past, and we've had to work on this. They're like, well, I don't want to overburden that person by. I'm only going to put them on, once. And I'll have somebody come and say, I'm never scheduled. I never get to do anything. And I go to their leader like, well, I don't want to overburden them. No, these are opportunities. We're made to serve. If we're going to be the image of Christ, he came to serve. Okay. And so, that should be what we're inspiring, but it's got to come down through all the levels.
And it's cultural. It's the culture that you set. So at Relevant, our team leads, our leaders who do the schedule, they know you're not allowed to schedule anybody more than twice a month. And then you ask them, when are you available? But other than that, and we have people you couldn't beat away with a stick. They're there on schedule, they just love it.
They show up anyway.
Yeah, they show up anyway. Yeah. But that twice a month, it's like, no. And then you have the people who, they only show up when they're scheduled. Yeah. And I tell people, I say, if you have somebody on your team and the only time you see them is when they're scheduled, when they walk in church, tell them, no, we got this. You need to go to church. Because now we're using people. We're not here to use people.
Yeah. Now, somebody's listening to this right now, and you're thinking, oh, I thought we were talking about health. You guys are talking about recruiting, and you're talking about building teams and schedules and all that kind of stuff. But the reality is, if you hear behind it the unity, the community, the oneness, the culture, all of those things, as an individual stepping into that, what do you see happen when someone walks in your door? They begin to take your challenge. They begin to walk in these 6 steps. What do you see happening inside of that family as they progress over the few months? What are you seeing happen?
You see the family unite around the purpose of serving Christ. You see the community that they build. So now my friends that I used to hang out with aren't my only friends. I actually have a church community that I can call on, that I can count on. It's so much bigger than serving. You see them grow in their faith because that community encourages them to be in their word, encourages them to show up to church. Because of that community, when crisis happens, there's people coming to the rescue, going to pray for them, bringing food, cheering them up. I hear these stories, and I'm like, all this stuff is happening, and I couldn't even tell you who the person is. Yeah. And that's what you want. You want people to come into the family, be assimilated into the family, love to life, have community and everything. It is not required upon you as the leader to do it. Like, it's happening because it's the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to hear responses from people like I've been here for a month and I feel like it's home. And I walk in and all these people are celebrating and, all this stuff, like this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Like our slogan is church isn't a building you walk into, it's a family you belong to. And like we center everything around that, so that people are growing together as a family. And, maybe not with the age of my kids right now, but if you're part of the family, you care about the house.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not Ross's church, it's our house, it's our family. And when you start to see that kind of unity, I mean, it's church health, right? Yeah. That's what we're talking about, is health.
So we see our congregation in this journey, they're processing, they're getting healthy, we're seeing life transformation, we're seeing, they get emotional support, they get, even probably financial support, physical support, because they're connecting in community, they're connecting in the body, they're using their
people
gifts.
Give away cars.
Yeah.
Like everything.
and that person that gives that car, there's a health aspect that reciprocates back to them because they get fulfillment, they get joy, right? And it translates into a healthy church and a healthy person. Now, let's also talk a little bit about, because as our churches are growing, and both of you pastor sizable churches, and so you have staff, but this could also relate to key volunteers. Let's talk about how do you keep your staff healthy? They carry a weight that is a little different than just I'm serving, okay. I'm giving twice a month. They're there every week, okay? And so let's talk a little bit about how do you keep your staff healthy? How do you keep them engaged in a very healthy way?
When I'm talking to people, even if you're talking about hiring somebody or if you're helping somebody work through whatever they're dealing with, the first thing that I ask them is, "Hey, what's your Sabbath?
What's your Sabbath?
What's your Sabbath? What day is your Sabbath?" And they say, "Oh, I don't have one." Let's deal with that first.
Yeah.
When I hired our first full-time person, I said, "You need to pick a Sabbath and guard it against me."
That's good.
Because I'm going to ask.
Very few pastors are willing to go down that road.
It has to be, because I need her to be healthy.
Yeah.
And I'm not here to use you.
Yeah.
And if you're not there to use people and they'll know it, I could ask people to run through a brick wall because they know I care about them.
Yeah.
But people could tell if you're trying to use them, or if you're on to the next because that's the next hot whatever. And it's like, no, you really have to care about people. Well, there was a young lady, and she was just drowning. Full-time student on the worship team. Every Saturday somebody's asking her to sing at an event, do all this stuff, couldn't study and doing all this stuff. And when she sat down, and she just looked like she was about to cry. She's so tired. And I said, "What's your Sabbath?" And she's like, and I just walked through her schedule, and I said, "Saturday's your day. Don't sing anywhere. Don't do any homework. Hang out with your friends. Have community. Be in your word. Talk to God." And she's like, and they're like, "What? Do less and accomplish more."
Yeah.
The next month I saw her, and she said, "It changed my whole life.
Yeah.
I got more energy. It's just a Sabbath saying, God, I trust you with the rest."
Yeah. Here's a dynamic tension, though, that you have staff members, and as senior pastors, let's grant it, you guys have liberties that your staff don't necessarily get to have because they're getting paid 9 to 5, 5 days a week, 6 days a week, whatever it is. And so there's this dynamic tension that they feel sometimes is you're asking me to take a Sabbath, you're asking me to take a rest, but at the same time, you're putting these demands on me that require me to have this. So how do you navigate that when you have an employee that's kind of in that situation?
I think that you have to see, as the senior leader or the lead, you have to see them as people, not as machines.
Yeah.
And I know that seems really obvious, and we're in ministry. We should obviously see them as people, but it's easy to see them as a machine. Get this done, get that. You didn't get that right. Fix this and all that stuff. Instead of seeing them as individuals, as having their own family and stuff like that. We're really heavy at our church about having 2 days off a week. And so, like, we don't like, hey, pick your day off. Like, you will have Friday and Saturday off. You will not come into the church. You're not allowed to come into the church. But what I have to do then because I'm writing my messages during the week, and a lot of what they do pivots on what I do. That means that I, as the senior leader, I might have more liberties, but I should be paying attention to the responsibilities I have.
Come on.
Because if I don't do my part, then it hamstrings them. It makes it so that they do have to figure things out later. So we've got deadlines in place, and we work hard for those, and we got to prioritize the main thing.
Yep.
And if I know my main thing is going to affect, for me, 15 other people, I better get my main thing prioritized right so that I'm setting them up for success.
Yep. I think that's a good word, Ross, because I see that so many times that, let's say, for example, sermon prep, and then you got your notes, you got, let's say you want to throw in a video, and so many times I've seen senior pastors put that on their tech department at the last minute. The tech department's been waiting all week, or they've been working all week on other projects because your tech department has to take care of your youth ministry, your children's ministry, and you. And if you don't have that love and respect for them, then you're creating a very unhealthy environment when you just drop something last minute.
Yeah.
And so I was just in a conversation today with some staff members, and they're asking me, how do you navigate trying to get something done when you've got multi-departments involved and you're trying to come into unity with how to get things done, when to get things done? And so there's that dynamic tension that we have in our teams of, okay, I've got my priorities and I'm trying to get them done, but yet they're going to cross paths with this other department. So talk to us a little bit about maybe how you navigate to keep a spirit of unity among your teams.
So your greatest ability is availability, but your second greatest ability is flexibility. And when you get people, particularly, let's say tech, they have a specific niche that they're good at. And sometimes people aren't flexible, or they're annoyed when it didn't go the way they planned it or whatever. And then there is a space in a room to be flexible.
Yeah.
The question is your spirit right?
Yeah.
Because you have to put aside that I didn't plan for this. This is something that's come, maybe out of left field, and now it's altering my plans and what I thought I had to do.
Yeah.
That's why it goes back to the mind of serving. Do you know who we're serving here?
Yeah.
Because if they think they're serving me, or if they think they're serving the church, no, we're serving God. So the way that we're able to pivot when things don't go the way we wish they would, it determines, you're going to keep getting upset, and this is kind of normal because sometimes things don't go the way we planned it. So the inability to be flexible with a good attitude.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Here's where I'd push back a little bit on that, Robert, is sometimes is okay. All the time is different.
Correct.
When it becomes a habitual pattern of, it's a disrespect, really, that we put on the people that we've actually hired and empowered to do something. We really disrespect the very gifting and calling that God has given us when we lead from that. And it's not just lead pastors. It could be youth pastors. It could be worship leaders. Every department has to deal with this dynamic tension of key volunteers and this kind of thing.
Yeah, I think you're so right, and I'm going to step on some toes here.
Go for it.
If you're a lead pastor who's writing your message on Saturday, think about what you're doing to your team every Sunday morning. They're walking into church with, and especially if you're loading in and loading out like you guys, they have so many things on their plate that morning, and now they have to deal with the fact that you walked in and then said, oh, shoot, let me send you my notes. Yeah. And now they got to put everything in and all that. You're doing that to them every week. You need to prioritize your message earlier in the week. I'm going to call you out on another thing. If
Can the Holy Spirit speak on Monday just like he does on Saturday?
I was just going to say, you should not be taking Monday off. You need to take Friday off, because the earlier you can get with your team and get the ball rolling, the better.
Yeah.
Sunday's the first day of the week for you. Monday is the second day of the week. It is not the start of the work week. It is the second day. And so you need to work, and so we do our staff meeting first thing on Monday morning. We get in there, office opens for us at 9 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, it starts. Everybody's had time to talk about what they did the weekend, get a cup of coffee. We sit down for 2 hours. We have fellowship. We talk about the wins and the losses of the Sunday before, and we make a plan for the next one. Yep. We just kicked off the whole week, and everybody now has their let's call them marching orders, the stuff they need to do for the week. And then on Tuesday, my message is done. Yeah. So they've got the rest of their Wednesday and Thursday, and then I get 2 days off. And people say all the time, we should start a Saturday night service because our church is at a point where we need more room this Saturday. I said, no. And they're like, why won't you do it? I said, because I won't violate my staff's time.
Yeah. That's good.
And they're like, what are you talking about? It'd be great. No, because many of them have spouses who work Monday to Friday. And if I take their Saturday away, now they don't have the one day that they deserve to have with their family. So we got to shift our mindset that it's not all about me as the senior leader. It's all about all the people that are serving underneath me that rely on me to lead well. Yeah. And so it crosses, I could keep going. It crosses into other ministries, worship leaders. You cannot pick your songs on Sunday morning. Yeah. Lead pastors, do not come in. Do not come in.
Meddling now, isn't he?
Do not come in. I'm going for it.
Wild.
Lead pastors, do not come in and request a song Sunday morning.
Yeah.
If you can't come up with it on Monday,
get up and sing it yourself.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I will say, can I speak to the growing young setup, tear down, no staff?
Yeah.
I have like 1.5 staff members other than myself. Mm-hmm. So we don't have. We have a staff meeting, some wins and work-ons, all the questions they need to answer all the questions. But my team literally texts me Sunday morning, send me your points. Because we don't have a tech team. We do have a tech team, right, but they work Monday through Friday. Sunday morning they're on. So right, we have a different rhythm. And the thing is we're going to one day grow up and be like my big brother here and have a whole tech team and all these different things, and it works differently when you have staff that are there working on these things Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday, and Sunday's a work day. But all of our situations are a little bit different. Yeah. And like I said, if you have, I don't know if I train them this way or what, the message is done, the stuff is done. They'll be like, oh yeah, I'm ready for it. I need it now. Because it's just the timing of when we have access to all of our stuff and being set up and all these different things. So I don't want people hearing this saying, oh, I'm doing it wrong. Or I don't want my people watching this saying, Pastor, no.
Yeah.
It's going to be.
No, but your rhythm is different.
Different rhythms. Yeah.
The key to what you're saying, though, is consistency.
Yes.
If this is the culture and this is the expectation, then nobody is feeling like they're getting,
inconsistency. You asked me to do it one week, it's this week it's less, and it's the consistency piece is a big deal. And that's the discipline and consistency that we started with.
I'm thinking about Psalms 133, where God commands his blessing on unity, right? And here's the thing, if our teams are healthy, got a healthy rhythm, they have a healthy, understanding of how we do things, then the end result is that our congregation gets blessed.
Oh, yes.
Because God commands his blessing on unity. Mm-hmm. And so your sermon becomes more anointed, your worship becomes more anointed, your greeters become more anointed, because everybody is healthy, in a fluid, a good rhythm, and a good pace, and a good understanding of the vision and the mission that we give them. Right. Okay, we've got just a couple of minutes here, so give us a final thought as we're wrapping this up.
Just the thought I was going to add, and I'll just say it, is that when you're leading a ministry, I think it's really important that you look at, you're leading other people. Just as the leader, think in the terms of you're serving those people. They're not here to serve you, and I think you already said it.
Yes.
Yeah. They're not here to serve me. My job during the week is to serve them. And if I can serve them well, if I can serve them in a way that it gives them everything they need for the week, we're going to have wins. On Sunday, we're going to have wins relationally as a team. We're going to want to be around each other and not want to be away from each other, because they then feel and know that they're valued from the top. Yeah. And this could be, you could be the top of the worship team or the children's ministry or whatever it is. Yeah. They need to know that they're valued by you, and you can show them that by serving them well.
That's awesome. Robert?
I would say the healthy things grow. You have a baby. Baby comes out, first thing they tell you is how much they weigh and how long they are. And when you go home from the hospital, the first couple of days, you got to go to the doctor. And for the rest of that child's life, until they die, every time they go to the doctor, they get on a scale and they see how tall they are. And as a small child, they plug them into a computer, and there's this scale. And if they're off the trajectory of where the growth should be based on where their age are, they start asking you questions. Yeah. Are they getting enough sleep? Are they getting enough milk? Are they getting enough water? Are they getting enough vegetables? Why? Because if the baby's not growing, if the child's not growing, we're going to investigate why. Yep. And I think when we're talking about healthy physical, healthy emotional, healthy physical, spiritual, I would say, when I say healthy things grow, the team should be growing, the church should be growing. And people push back on this all the time. And I'm like, if the church is healthy, what does it look like for a church to be healthy? This is just me, how I see it. A healthy church has people who are sharing their testimony, sharing the gospel, compelling people to come. When people come to the faith, they're being baptized and they're being discipled. And they're being discipled as becoming a follower of Christ. And at some point in the discipleship process, they graduate to being a disciple maker. Yep. And if every church is simply doing these things, the church is healthy and it can't stop growing. Yep. The Bible has built in for a church to grow. And we have a lot of churches that are dying. Yep. A lot of churches that have kind of grown stagnant, and they're just kind of money in the bank, we got a building, and we're kind of phasing out. And I just want to challenge churches just to get back to being healthy, because healthy things grow.
Yeah, that's good. It's good, Robert. Well, hey, LINC family, we've got to go. This has been a great conversation today, and we trust that it's challenged you, and we trust that it's informed you, and we trust that you will take it on yourself to build a healthy environment around everything that God's called you to do.